How's it going? So, if you are running any kind of ads on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, any ad platform, and you're paying money to get your stuff in front of more people, make more sales, I want to go over some really simple, basic strategies that we've used to help generate consistent profits from paid ad platforms. Now, a lot of people will talk about a ton of really cool advanced methods, different softwares they can plug in, cool different ways to test stuff. And that stuff is great and it makes a really good tool. However, I found that the best way to generate consistent profits through your paid ads is just doubling down on the basics, and not enough people do it. So I want to go through basically five different things and five basics that you can work on doubling down on when you're going to scale or get better performance from your paid ads. So I'm going to jump into the ads manager right now, make myself a little bigger, show some of the stuff that we're working on, and kind of give an example of the tests and the processes and the basics that I'm just going to show here. Make it really straightforward and to the point. So let's get right into it. Okay, now first things first, before I get into Ads Manager as well, is going to be your offer. It's a really simple, basic thing that you need to spend time on. You need to have the absolute best offer out there in your industry, and you need to really strive towards that, because people, just going straight Alex Hormozy, people need to feel stupid saying no to your offer. And if you don't have a good offer, everything else we're going to talk about isn't going to work as well as it could if you had a good offer. Having a good offer is going to amplify the results that you get from your paid ads. I've had a lot of clients and a lot of partners where they get great leads. They get them on the phone, they talk to them, they're okay with the price, but they don't close. And the reason why, usually two, it's either your offer or your sales process. And in most cases that I see, the offer just isn't irresistible enough for people. And people will get really tied up in charging high ticket, right? But maybe instead of charging $6,000, charge four, and then you'll actually make 3x ROAS versus trying to charge $6,000 and scrape by at break even, which just does not work. Break even is not viable. You got to be 2, 3, 4x ROAS. And the only way to do that is to make sure that you have a very, very strong offer. So keep that in mind as we talk about this. I'm almost assuming that if you're doing a lot of these basics, your offer should be at the core and at the foundation of this whole thing, because with a good offer, it'll amplify everything else that you're doing. So without further ado, let's get into the ads manager and I'll show you some of the stuff that we've been working on. Horizontal testing, especially recently, has resulted in some of the best cost per leads, cost per sales, and the best ROAS versus anything else that I've ever done. So here's exactly what that looks like. Let's say we've got this thing right here. It's producing me leads at $8 a lead. In the past week, it's producing me leads at 13, right? Not too bad. It's okay, right? Now say I want to scale this thing up, and these are all being used as an example here. Say I want to scale this up and get this to work a lot better than it's already working. What we'll do is we'll duplicate this actually at least 5 times, and we'll change one small thing inside of the ad and duplicate it at a pretty low budget. So I've duplicated these 5 times, and let's just duplicate it at basically $5 a day. And that's all you really need to do. It's not too much money. It's an extra $20 of budget. You're effectively increasing your daily budget and your daily spend, hence scaling and increasing the amount of people going to your lander, ideally increasing the amount of sales, but you're doing it at a pretty low risk. And whenever you do this, like I said, you want to change one very, very small thing. So what small things could you change? One is going to be the age range. Say we're doing 21 to 65. Let's try doing 25 to 45, right? That's one thing I'll change. What's something else I could change? Okay, the next thing I could change is the audiences. I could just add one definition a little bit further, and let's just say a social media manager. And that's it. That's the next small change. You're basically making these micro changes across the board, right? Another really good one that I've seen work well is just testing a different headline, and that's it. Just testing a different lead-in on this top piece of text, which everyone sees. Just test that one thing, and that's basically it. So that's what's super, super powerful about doing horizontal scaling is you test all these little things. You're going to get a ton of really, really good data, and you're going to get a lot of wins very quickly. We actually did this with someone recently where their cost per purchase was ranging between $30 to $50. We did a micro test and horizontal scaled everything. And what ended up happening is we got sales at $3 and $6, which is amazing, right? So making sure you're always testing and you're doing horizontal scaling and you're doing micro tests is big. The last thing I want to say on testing is always doing tests consistently. For me, if I go inside of an ad account, whether I'm managing it or I'm not, if I don't see a test happening, it bothers me. I always want to be testing something. If it's audience, copy, creative, headline, placements, I always want to see a test going on. If not, it feels like what ends up happening is just you're sitting there waiting for something to happen and being more reactionary versus not. So that's kind of my philosophy on testing. The next thing I want to go over is mindset. Having a really good mindset when it comes to running these ads is super important, and how you look at the data and interpret it is just as important as well. So, what I mean by that is I really like to look at Facebook ads and most paid advertising platforms almost like going up a flight of stairs, right? You're going to go up one flight. It's going to be really, really tough to get to the top, but you're going to do it. And then you're going to be a little bit stagnant, right? And you're going to go horizontally across, and you're going to go vertically up, horizontally across, vertically up. So I hope that picture that I painted is good enough. But you got to have that kind of mindset, especially when you're scaling. And I always love to look at the data in this way, particularly. I'll look at yesterday's stats. I'll then look at the past 3 days as a whole to give me a better picture. Then I'll look at the past week. And if I need to, I'll go even further. Now, a lot of people won't look at day by day stuff, right? They won't analyze the trends. It's important to analyze the trends between 3-day and 7-day. So like in this case, past 3 days, okay, looking pretty good. We're trending in the right direction. Past 7 days, it hasn't been too good, but whatever changes we've made recently over the past 3 days are resulting in some pretty good stuff, right? However, yes, the overall ad data that you want to look at usually is the more the better, right? So for the month, what does everything look like? Great. But what are the trends looking like? What does Mondays look like for us? What do Tuesdays look like? How are the ads fluctuating? Are they consistent or are they not? And then if they're not consistent, how can we get these things more and more consistent? That's what's going to help you when you're looking at these things daily and looking at the trends over a day by day period versus just looking, oh, past 7 days, oh my gosh, the cost per purchase is so high, we're screwed. Okay, well, no, that's a horrible way to think about it. You need to look at all the data over 7, 3, and more days so you can get a better picture of everything. The last one I want to mention is iteration. And it kind of comes back to this horizontal scaling thing is when you make changes on small things, they usually make a really, really big result. So for example, this ad right here is a winner for us. We're getting sales for around $8 on it. What's a small change that I can iterate to make a big difference? Well, if someone sees this ad, I think a lot of the time people will view the ads from the ads manager. And I catch myself doing it a lot. It's like, okay, boom, post the ad in, great. But what does this actually look like from someone that is scrolling through the platform, right? I think it's great to kind of do this. Like, let's say you were scrolling. What does this actually look like to people that are seeing it, right? I mean, the first thing they're seeing is this. And I mean, really, the creative is the biggest thing that they're seeing. In my mind, this seems a little bit busy, right? Instead of this and this, I'd probably want to get rid of this or get rid of this white one and not do really anything else, right? It seems just a little bit busy for when people are scrolling through here. And I think making sure you do iteration on these small things, they make a huge difference versus trying to make a whole brand new creative. I think creative is a great high leverage tool that you can use to improve your ad results. So making new creatives is a must, but sometimes it's even easier to just see what's working. How can we make what's working better? It's less work. You're working smarter, not harder, is the end kind of result here. So those are some ads tactics and basics that I think everyone should focus on to get better results in their paid ads. This applies both to Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Google, etc. I'm using Facebook as an example here because we work mostly out of Facebook and Instagram, but these same things are applied to YouTube, Google, and TikTok. Let me know if you guys have any questions on this in the comment section. And there's one last thing I want to show you. I've got a free cheat sheet in the description. So you go to the description, there's a couple ways to get these cheat sheets, and you can essentially leverage them any which way you'd like through your paid ads to get the best results you possibly can. So check them out, totally free. Utilize it. Lots of good videos in here that show you how to leverage this cheat sheet. And I'll see you guys in the next one.